Okay, friends, in last lecture, we have discussed one project. Okay, and that was for the let me go there. Okay, so in last lecture, we have seen the Hangman project. Okay, so in this project, we are going to add something more. Okay, so first thing is we are going to create a separate module which contains our graphics items. For example, logo and the diagrams which we are printing when user lose a life. Okay, for example, here I have taken one module that is known as hangman underscore art. Okay, or we can say it's separate Python program. So here I have created it. I have just copied a list of the figure in a variable called stages. Okay, so it is not going to disturb in our main program. And second thing, I have created a logo in a variable logo. Okay, so these two variables can be directly used in our program with the help of hangman underscore art. Okay, so here what I have done, say suppose I want to print logo, so I have imported this module or this program in our program. Okay, as it is in the same directory, we are not going to write path. Okay, if it is in other directory, we are supposed to write a path here. Okay, next, here instead of printing this logo only, because we are printing it from the hangman art, so we write with hangman art and the qualifier that is dot and logo. Okay, and at the end, similarly, while printing the stages elements in the list stages, we also write hangman art dot stages. Okay, but suppose there are 2-3 such variables or functions which we are going to use from a particular module, then we can also write in this way. For example, here from hangman word, import word list. Okay, so I have created another program known as hangman word. Okay, here you can see. Okay, so instead of 6 or 7 words, I have taken approximately say 300 or 400 words. It is directly available on the website. Okay, it was about 600 words, but I have taken a few of them. Okay, and I have created a list known as word list. Okay, and this I have stored in another program known as hangman word.py. Okay, again, it is in the same directory. We are not going to write path, but I have imported this in other way from hangman word import word list. So now whenever you are using word list, no need to write hangman underscore word dot word list. Okay, so here chosen word is equal to random dot choice, and directly we can write word list. No need to write like hangman underscore word dot word list. If you write it won't give you error, but we can do in this way. Okay, similarly, the same if you want to do with art, hangman art, we can do in this way. From hangman art import two variables we have. Which two variables? Logo and another one is stages. Okay, so if there are more than one variables and functions, you don't know is a function, whether it is a variable. So better if you take star, means all the variables and functions get imported. So if you write in this way from Angman Art import star, then no need to write qualifier. Here we can directly write logo without using this. Similarly, we can directly write here stages. OK, but if you write, it won't give error. Just for experiment, let us keep as it is. OK, so let us run this program. OK, another modifications let us discuss first, then we will run. OK, so at the same time, I have just to improve the user experience. What I am going to add is whatever the letter already guessed, we should print it so that user should not give the same letter again. OK, for example, here gas is equal to this. If gas is in display, then print you have already guessed this letter. OK. Second thing, particularly the letters which are not in the list, not in the word, those letters we should also display. OK, so whenever he types any letter, if it is already there, then similarly we create one more list that is not in word, and we are going to add all the letters which are not in the word. OK, now let us see what happens if we run this. OK, so logo is there. That means whatever we have written, that is from Hangman Art import star asterisk is work. OK, now guess a letter, for example, say A. Now I don't know which word is there. A is not in the word, but I got some error. OK, print. OK, so here we have already imported all variables. So we'll write this. OK, let us run it again. Say letter A, I am guessing. OK, A is not in the word. OK, let me write say E. E is there. So I don't know what the exact word is. For example, say T. T is there. Say S. S is there. C. C is not there. So G. G is not there. Say H. Let me write randomly. J, K, K. Say L. OK, so whenever I will type, it should display that these are the characters which are not in the word, so that while guessing the word, we can see that which character we have already input. OK, so this is little improvement in this program. So two things we learned here. We can import in this way from Hangman Art import star, OK, or asterisk, that will import all the variables, all the modules, all the functions and everything. And here only word list variable or word list, or we can say variable, that will be imported. If there are one more, for example, say let me go to word list. Let me write say some another variable. I is equal to 22/7. OK, now if I want to use here directly, I cannot use. I have to write print into bracket Hangman word.py. Otherwise it will give error because we have imported only word list, OK, from Hangman word. So if we write star here, then I can write py. Otherwise I have to write with the name of the module. OK, if I write in this way, then it will give error. Let us. OK, so py is not defined. But if I write in this way, dot py. Then it will not give error. It will continue. Some spelling mistake I made. Hangman World. It is not defined. Okay, so I have to import py also because I cannot use this. Now I can use only py in this way. What happens then? Okay, if there are more than one word, we have to write asterisk. I think there must be some mistake here. Pi is equal to 22/7. Oh, the mistake is I did not save the program. That's why it was not giving. I have to save it. Okay, now it will work. Okay. Okay, right. Now let us do all the changes which we made. Everything should work like this. We had logo word list. Okay, and here Hangman word. So initially this was given error because of the program was not saved. Now it is working. Okay. Oh, sorry. It is declared in this way. I think this must work now. Okay, right. So these are the changes made in the program to make a better user experience. Now let us go to the function with parameter. So next topic we are going to discuss is functions with parameter. So up to now we have seen functions with no parameter. For example, let us take a new file. Let us create a simple function, say define greet into bracket, say print hello, print say how do you do at your location, say hello, name say Mihir. Okay, now suppose this is my function. If I say greet, okay, if I run this test, or let me give. Okay, so I got hello Mihir and what do you do at your location? But now actually I want to call with two things, name and say location. So these two are the variables. Now we should not worry about its type. Okay. Now let us say input name is equal to input. What is your name? Okay. Say location is equal to input. What is your location? Now here I want to use two corresponding variables. I can say name1. Even I can take the same also, but just to for readability I take different one. Location 1. Okay. So instead of writing this name here, we will write say name1. Okay, so exact name will be printed, and here I want to use location 1. Okay, now see, if I run this, it will ask for say Mihir, say Ahmedabad. So hello, it should be app string. So I forgot to write. Run Mihir Baroda. Okay, so hello Mihir, how do you do it? Your Baroda. I think I should not write here your also. Okay. Now up to now, whatever languages you have studied, C, C++, this is called argument. Okay, and this is called parameter. For these arguments, or we can say this is data, and this is the name given to the data. Okay, so understand the difference between these two. This we call as an argument or data. This we call as a parameter, or we can say name of the data. Okay, now see, if I write in this way, okay, what happens then? Baroda will be go to the variable name and Angela will go to the location. Let us see. Okay, we'll not get the desired result. Okay, so this kind of argument or this kind of parameters where order is important is called positional parameter. Remember, this is called positional parameter. So you have to remember the sequence of the variables you have used in the function. Otherwise, whatever the calling function which contains the value, if it is differ, the result will be unexpected. Okay, but Python give you the facility where instead of using the positional parameter, you can use the keyword parameter. Okay, so suppose if I write here, say name is equal to Angela, comma, location is equal. Here I have to take the same name which I have used as a parameter. Name1 and location 1 is equal to say Baroda. Okay, now if we run this, hello Angela, how do you do it? Baroda. Okay, now suppose I do in this way. Control X, comma, Control V. Okay, then again, Angela will go to name and this Baroda will go to location. Run this. Okay, you got the same result. How? Hello Angela, how do you do it? Baroda. So Python supports you the keyword parameter system, or we can in other languages what we have already studied, we'll only positional parameter system. Okay, so while calling the function, you have to maintain the values of the variables and you have to write with the proper order. Okay, but in case of Python, you can use the keyword parameter. So now let me take a very simple example again. Say define it, say A, comma B, comma C. Say print equal to f string equal to okay, let me take only okay, let me take C also. Now let us call the function. Say do it with 5, 6, 7. Hello. Lecture chalu. Okay, so what happens? A will be equal to 5, B will be equal to 6, and C will be equal to 7. If we run this, okay, you will get A equal to 5, B equal to 6, C equal to 7. But if you write 6 plus 6 first and 5 later, then the values will be different. We want actually A is equal to 5, B is equal to 6, and C is equal to 7. But here the position is important. We'll not get the desired result. We'll get A equal to 6, B equal to 5, and C is equal to 7. But if we write in this way, say A equal to 5, comma, B equal to 6, comma, C is equal to 7. Now if we run this, we'll get A equal to 5, B equal to 6, C equal to 7. Now let me write in any order, say Control X, Control V, X. Now if we do in this way, then even though it is in any order, we'll get the value of A equal to 5, B equal to 6, and C is equal to 7. Let us see. Okay. A equal to 5, B equal to 6, and C is equal to 7. Let me make bigger. Okay. So this is called the keyword argument or keyword parameter system. Okay. So this is all about the positional argument. We will see later something more in this. So right now we will see the argument and parameter. If we write with the variable name, or we can say with the parameter, then it is called the keyword argument. And if we write in order of the variables, only values if we write, then it is called positional argument. Okay. So next, now we are going to have a one small program that you will try to do it. Okay. So now my program is very simple. We have one wall which is to be painted. Okay. We need 3 inputs. One is length of the wall. Second one is width of the wall, and the number of cans required to paint a certain area. For example, say length of the wall is say 12 meter. So width of the wall is say 5 meter. And we need area 5. That means 5 meter by 5 meter area will take 1 can. Okay, or we can say in this way. Length is equal to 12 meter. width is equal to say 5 meter, can is equal to say 9 meter, or we can say 9 square meter. Okay, so one can paint. See any, let me write so that. Okay, so one can paint 9 square meter area. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to write a function. You have to write a function that depending on the length and width, you have to print the number of cans required. Okay, can you do this? You have to input length and width from the keyboard. Okay, it is fixed that which kind of which area can be painted with the help of one can. So that will be constant. You will directly take it into the program. Okay, you will supply 3 arguments in the function, and your function should calculate the number of cans required to paint the particular wall. Now remember here one thing, one hint I wanted to give you, that you have to take the ceiling when there is a float division. For example, there will be area of suppose say 100 square meter. Okay, and suppose 6 square meter area can be painted with the help of one can. So to find the number of cans, you have to divide 100, that is area, by 6. Okay, you will get something which is say 12 point or 13 point something. Okay, sorry, 16 point something you will get, right? But you have to print 17 as an output, that is ceiling. Okay, for example, suppose you have got even 16.1, then also you need to print 17, because to paint the wall completely, you need 16 cans full, and some portion, for some portion you need more color. Okay, so for that you need one more can. So you have to take the function ceiling instead of say floor. Okay, so up to now we have seen the function floor, that is double slash. So if you take 16 or say 100 divide by double slash 6, so you will get floor division. For example, 16. Let us do it here in the console. So 100 divide by 6. Okay, so it should give 16, right? But if you wanted ceiling, okay, so for that you have to include the module math, math. Okay, so we can say import math. Okay, and CEIL is a function, so we can write in this way also, from math import CEIL. Okay, now you can use CEIL. For example, say print into bracket 100, sorry, CEIL into bracket 100/6. Okay, so what it should print? 17, right? Okay, so we got 17. For a here say 97. So that will be round about 16.15 or so. So it is not actually, we are not going to round it. So we are taking ceiling. Okay, so if we run this, oh, not 96, it should be 97. Okay, this example should also be shown that if it is exactly 16, okay, then it should not give you the upper border or a ceiling. Okay, next integer. So if it is exactly 16, you should not go to the next integer. But if it is even a 0.1 is more, then you have to go to the next integer. You will get 70. Okay, so now try to complete this program. Okay, it is very simple. During your previous semesters, you might have learned to find the area of a rectangle. But the same thing I want to give you in other way. Okay, so try to complete this. You can put it in the checkbox. બોલો ભાઈ બે મેં છોકરાઓને કામ Okay, shall I write the function? Okay. Okay, let me write. Open. See, it is very simple, very simple. We have to import math to use the ceiling function. Okay, I have defined a function print calculate height, width and cover. Okay, so area is equal to height into width. Number of cans is equal to math dot ceiling area divided by cover. Okay, and the output is you will need number of cans. Okay, so test h is equal to integer input. You have to convert whatever the input number into integer. You have to give height into meter. So input height of wall, input width of wall, and coverage is equal to 5. That means it one can cover or one can paint 5 square meter area. Okay, so these are the inputs. We have to write the keyword argument here. Height is equal to test underscore h. Width is equal to test underscore y w, and cover is equal to coverage. Now, if you do in this way, you can write in any order. Say Control X. You can put it here. Control V. So it can give you the correct result. Okay. So now if we run this, say 12 meter, so 6 meter, you need 15 cans. Okay. Now you can see 12 into 6, 72. Okay. So 14 can cover only 70 square meter. We have 72 square meter. So it should give you 15 cans, right? Okay. Now, next we are going to check a prime number. Now you will write a program for prime number. I think you have wrote it for many times, but this prime number program is very useful. Though it looks very simple, but it is useful in Bitcoin, it is useful in encryption and so on. So to know that whether given number is a prime or not is very important. So now you write the prime number, you just input a number, write a function to check the prime number. Okay, and you just print a message that whether the given number is prime or not. Okay, we know that prime number is a number which can be divisible by 1 and itself only. Any number between 1 and itself, if it is divisible by any number between 1 and itself, then it will not be a prime. Or we can say if it can be divisible by any other number except itself and prime and 1, then it is not a prime number. Okay. So now try to write a function for checking whether the given number is a prime number or not. Okay, so do it and just put a code in the checkbox. So I hope you have written code for checking the prime number. So anybody who have written this program for checking the prime number can copy the code in the message box. Okay, let us see. Let me close these, close these. So it's very simple. We define a function, say prime checker, and we'll supply number. Is prime equal to true for I in range 2, number. So we start from 2 to the number. Different logics can be used to find the prime numbers. Some may check it till square root of the given number plus 1. Okay, but here the logic of the prime number is not important. The important thing is here is only we are writing a function with the variables. Okay, so for I is in range, for example, say 2 to the number. If number percentage I is equal to 0, is prime equal to false. Okay, so when it will come out from the loop, so if there is no number which divides the number which we are supposed to check, then it will not set false to the is prime. Okay, so it will remain is prime equal to true. So here at the end of the loop, when we come out from the loop, we'll check if is prime equal to true, or we can simply check if is prime, then print the number is prime, else print the number is not prime. Okay, we'll input the number, we'll convert it into integer, and we store it into n. Okay, and we'll call the function with the help of number is equal to n. So if we write number is equal to n, that means we are using the keyword parameter system. Okay, if we run this, for example, so 97 is a prime number, we know. If we run it again, for example, say 18, which is not a prime number. So 18 is not a prime number. Okay, we can write a prime number program. Now next we are going to discuss is ultimately we'll do one project, okay, based on this function that we know this is called the Caesar cipher. Okay, means a text will be input, then it will be converted into the encrypted code. Okay, so we'll input a text. At the same time, we will input a shifting number. Okay, 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, let me see. Let me open. Okay, so we'll store all the alphabets in a list. Okay, we will check. Okay, what we'll do, we'll create a function called encrypt that takes the text as an input, okay, and convert it into the encrypted code. Okay, inside the encrypt function, shift each by given number. Okay, so for example, suppose my text is hello, the first character is H, and if you want to shift it by 5, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the corresponding character will be M. So suppose I run this and if I type hello, okay. So the first question you will ask is whether they want to encode or decode. Okay, let us say encode. Type the message, say hello. Shift number. So you need to input these 3 variables. That is whether user want encoding or decoding, the text which is to be encoded or decoded, and the shift number. For example, say 7. So the result is this OLSSV. Okay. Now it is asking whether you want to continue. Say yes. Let us say decode. If you enter the text which you got as a result and the same shift number, then it should give you the original text hello. Okay, so you got hello. So this is exercise you try. Otherwise, we will see in the next lecture. You will write 2 functions. One is for encryption, other one is for decryption. You will take 3 inputs. That is whether user want to encode or decode. Okay. So you will complete this. And next time you show me how many of you have completed this. And if you have not completed or you have completed, we will discuss this in the next lecture. Okay. Thank you. Madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. આપણે આજે પૂરું કરીએ.
Yes, sir. We will conclude.
Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.